I just saw The Rivals of Amziah King, and here are my thoughts. First things first, I saw absolutely no promotion for this movie. Only word of mouth was through my friend who recommended that I go watch it because he really liked it. So it follows Matthew McConaughey playing Amziah King, who's a local beekeeper and basically town celebrity of this kind of small rural town, in which everybody knows him. He's a musician, he's a beekeeper, he's a repairman. He's basically he's a really a Swiss Army knife, and everybody loves him. Everybody knows him. However, of course, the movie's called The Rivals of Amziah King. So basically, there's a theft that happens in the film, a theft of honey, and the local law enforcement come in and be like, "Yo, Amziah King, who stole this honey? Whose honey did it even belong to?" And chaos kind of ensues from there into a sort of whodunit, sort of what Google calls a neo-western. I don't know if that's, I don't think that's a good description at all, but that's the basic setup and premise for the movie. There's also a daughter character, kind of Matthew McConaughey's foster daughter, and there's also kind of the villain in the movie, played by Kurt Russell, who's a tycoon, who's basically an all businessman. He's in every industry. He's pushing the little guys out of town, right? Now, positives for this movie: it's super quirky, and there's a lot of music. I didn't think music was going to be nearly as big of a part of this film as it was. Not just in the score, but everybody in it plays an instrument, and it really kind of makes you happy. It's very lighthearted, and I think everybody does a great job in terms of using music as a vessel to bring communities together. That's the obvious vibe that they were going for. Also, the first half I think is super compelling because there's a certain event that happens that makes you go, literally, what the hell just happened, and really builds a lot of tension, and you're super invested. And then you get about the halfway. So the second half is really where it loses it for me. A lot of my positives end here. It takes a lot more of a focus on the daughter character, which I don't think she's the strongest written character, strongest acted. I just think the first half is much more compelling. And when you see the film, you'll see the obvious transition from first half to second half. Um, that where a lot of my complaints start piling in. Now, I will say I don't think this makes for a bad movie. I just think the second half is significantly weaker than the first half. Overall, it's filled with whimsy, it's filled with music, it's filled with a sense of joy and pride of celebrating where you're from. However, the actual narrative threads that the second half fails to, I won't say it doesn't close it off properly. I just think there's so much potential buildup in the first half that the second half doesn't land on necessarily. I'd still go recommend seeing it if you like Matthew McConaughey. I think he does a great job. Um, but overall, give it about a 6.5 out of 10, 7 out of 10. A lot of potential and an all right payoff. That's it. See ya.